Some, including yours truly, have called 2009 the year of the smartphone, with the iPhone 3GS, the Palm Pre, the upcoming BlackBerry Storm 2. There's been so many smartphones coming out this year that it's no surprise smartphone sales have ticked up. But the lion's share of phones still sold, according to the NPD group anyway, are feature phones, these so-called dumb phones where you can't load applications, but they can make calls and they're standard, have the standard cameras. So what's the situation here? What's going on? We bring in a couple technology journalists to talk about why the smartphone still isn't number one. First off, we bring in Harry McCracken from Technologizer. Harry, thanks for being with us.
Great to be with you again.
Also, we bring in Jeremy Kaplan from PC Magazine. Jeremy, thanks for joining us as well.
It's always my pleasure.
So the year of the smartphone it might be, but 72% of phones are still these dumb phones. Harry, why do you think people haven't, obviously there's a lot more, quote, dumb phones in the market than there are smartphones, and they're cheaper. But do you think that, those reasons alone are what are keeping people back from smartphones? Or do you think that they're maybe scared of the smartphone concept, or they're too pricey, or I don't know, what's your take on this?
Well, I think in the past, cost was a major factor. When the first iPhone came out, it was $600 for the high-end version.
Yeah.
And now that now that the iPhone 3G is under $100, and you can get BlackBerry sometimes for even less than that, I think cost is less of a factor, and probably the bigger issue is whether people see any value in smartphones or not. I certainly still know people who kind of just want a phone to make phone calls and who see the internet stuff as a complication rather than a benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Jeremy, now you actually admitted before the show that you are one of these 72% of people, and you have a not as smartphone. We're not calling it a dumb phone, but it's just not completely genius.
Not the greatest.
Which phone do you have, and what's your reasons for rocking, not an iPhone or a Palm Pre or something like that?
So I have a T-Mobile Shadow, which is running Windows Mobile, which ostensibly is a smartphone.
I put that in air quotes, a smartphone.
Smarter than the average phone, which isn't saying much. I do use it to get online, which means I'm doing more than, 70 or 80% of the populace with their phones. And I do send text messages and I take pictures and whatnot, but it's just not that smart. And I'll tell you why. I have an iPod Touch, which I think is a fantastic MP3 player and does all of the stuff that the iPhone does. So I just haven't made the leap into getting a new one. But I think the real thing that people aren't doing, I think when DVRs first came out, it sort of changed the way that you interacted with your TV, and it was really a revolution in people's minds to think about television in that way. I think people haven't made that leap towards phones, that having an internet connection enables you to do all of these different kinds of functions. And once it's in someone's hands, they'll realize, oh, that's why I want to spend an extra $100 on this.
So do you think that, the iPhone 3GS is, $199, the iPhone 3G is $99, Palm Pre is, I think, $199 with a rebate. Harry, is there some magical price point that we have to get to? The BlackBerry Pearl you can get for free, essentially with any, T-Mobile, AT&T, pick your flavor. Is there some sort of magical, formula for making smartphones the new rule and having that internet access everywhere? Or is it maybe the networks that haven't caught up? Or, what's the kind of how do we get to that place where everyone's using a smarter phone?
Those are all factors. My guess is what's going to happen is just it's going to get really blurry, because already I think there are phones out there that you can argue are either a smartphone or not a smartphone. And my guess is there'll still be a few phones long term that are primarily phones, but you'll see most of the features in smartphones trickle down to even more basic models, and the distinction will tend to go away.
Yeah, I think one of the trends we're also seeing is this $49 messaging phone. It kind of is like the pedigree of the Sidekick, right? Like that was kind of a phone that people could use AIM, for example, AOL Instant Messenger, and they could also send text messages with a little bit easier than a regular keyboard. I don't know, Jeremy, is there some magic formula you can see to getting a smartphone into everyone's hands, or does it even need to be that way necessarily?
I think there is one big function that's going to transform the market, and it's Facebook. I'm not even kidding. It's Facebook. I have
not
a lot
Twitter?
Of people.
No, just kidding.
You and I know how I feel about Twitter. I don't think it's the greatest invention.
Yeah.
But there are 200 million people in the U.S. that are using Facebook. And everyone that I know a number of people that have now bought the new Palm, and what everyone comes back to me and says is, it integrates so smoothly with Facebook. It gets the Facebook phone address, it meshes my contacts with the contacts in Outlook or wherever I have my phone contacts, and it works so seamlessly and smoothly. And then after a few days, they're like, oh, what I'm doing is I'm using Facebook on my cell phone. That's that logical leap that people are making. and the ability to say, oh, I have 300 friends, but all of a sudden I have the ability to call them all at once because my phone does this.
Yeah.
I think that's the realization of smartphones.
Those seamless integrations between applications. Obviously, there's a whole nother tangent to this, but unfortunately, we're out of time. Hopefully, the applications will start to integrate better across platforms, maybe. I don't know, that's kind of my hope. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Harry McCracken from Technologizer. Harry, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Randall.
Also, Jeremy Kaplan from PC Magazine. He's an executive editor over there. Jeremy, thanks for being with us as well.
Thank you.
I'm Randall Bennett, and don't forget, you can catch us on iTunes, we're on YouTube, we're lots of places, and I'm sure you can squeeze us into your smartphone, but I'm not sure about your dumb phone. You'll have to figure out how that works. Anyway, see you later.